when it was released in the summer of 1985, going on to become the highest-grossing film of the year. The movie featured Michael J. Fox, best known for his role on NBC's Family Ties, veteran television star Christopher Lloyd, 80s film icon Leah Thompson, and the eccentric Crispin Glover. Although it was billed as an adventure, it also fit nicely into the sci-fi genre, and the time-traveling teenager was born. Using Doc Brown's invention, Marty is sent from 1985 back to 1955, where he must make sure his parents meet and fall in love.
I'm George McFly. I'm your density.
But by interfering, he alters history and almost erases himself from the future. After repairing the damage, Marty must find a way to return to present day. Originally, Eric Stoltz was cast as Marty McFly, but filmmakers felt it wasn't working. So after 5 weeks of shooting, Fox was recast in the role.
Hey, Mark. Action!
But because of his commitment to Family Ties, Fox had to film during the night, forcing the crew to race through reshoots and post-production in an effort to make its summer release date.
In about 30 years!
Back to the Future went on to produce 2 more films in the franchise, making it one of the most successful trilogies of all time.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
And the stars of the Back to the Future franchise are Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, and Mary Steenburgen. We've also got writer-director Robert Zemeckis and singer-songwriter Huey Lewis. Good morning to all of you. This is so cool. 25 years. Can you believe it?
No, it's...
Well, yeah.
Well, at the time, though, Chris, did you know when you were making this film, this is going to be something? I'm onto something.
No, it's just day to day. Just, hoping everything worked out. I didn't sniff, that this was in the works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, this was your baby.
Yeah.
It really was. And I know when you first shot this to the studios, nobody was interested. Disney thought it was too risque. Other studios thought it wasn't risque enough because some of the other teenage-geared movies that were coming out were far more risque. So how did you get Universal to bite?
Well, it was actually I had to make another movie before anyone would take this seriously. Unfortunately, I was able to do Romancing the Stone, and then they started, because of the success of that movie, they thought, well, maybe this guy can make this movie work. But Steven Spielberg was always a fan, and he was always a supporter, so we brought it back to him. He took it to Universal, and that's how it got started.
And why 1955? Why was that when you went back in time? Why was it 1955?
Well, because we did the math, and we wanted Marty's character to be the same age as his father. So the movie takes place in 1985, so we went back, exactly 20 years.
Yeah, and Marty McFly here, Michael J. Fox, they wanted you originally, but you were tied up.
Yeah, I learned eventually that they had been interested in me from early on, and I couldn't do it because I was doing Family Ties, and Gary Goldberg couldn't let me out, and I didn't even know about it. And then they made a change, and they came back to me around Christmas time, and it was out in the summer, so it wasn't until like the December before.
You mean after they tried your role with Eric and it didn't work out?
So they had a really brief window to get it done, so I came in and I did the show in the daytime and the movie at night, and these guys adjusted their schedule and we got it done. But
do you even remember making this movie? Because you're basically,
I don't think I did make it. It was a lot of it. There are literally big chunks that I can't remember, and there are also scenes where we shot my coverage, but they'd shot the coverage for the other people before, so I was seeing performances that for the first time that I was supposedly in the room with, but I wasn't.
And Chris, you didn't want this role at first of Doc Brown.
I got an offer to go back to New York and do a play, and I kind of felt, gee, that's something I should do instead of gambling out here and a career out on the West Coast. And I sort of made up my mind I was going to do that, and then the script came. I was doing a film in Mexico, and the script for Back to the Future came in, and I didn't know anybody involved with it, and I looked at it, and I thought, so I just said, to hell with it, And then I would go back to New York, be an artist. You know?
Fool, what a fool.
But then somebody said, you know, you should really at least take a look.
Take a
I
look,
took
yeah.
a look, and agent persuaded me to go back and meet Bob, and
Thank goodness, because I
Thank
can't
goodness.
imagine another Doc Brown either. You're the best.
well,
Great.
It changed my life, as long as everybody else's
Yeah.
too.
Leah, when you were told you're going to play Lorraine, you're going to play her at the age of 47, and you're going to play her at the age of 17. And for 47, they had to do a lot of work on you every day.
Yeah.
3 hours plus of makeup, the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because we would be like, oh, you look so old. And now, of course, I'm there. But especially in Back to the Future 2, I was covered in plastic from here all the way to here when I was Lorraine with the big boobs. So that was a real dream of mine. So.
What was the most fun?
It was all, well, you know, it was all a lot of work, but for me, the fun was seeing when Bob Z was happy with something that we were doing. You know, he would just giggle, and it was so hard for him, and it was really fun to kind of make one of his visions come true.
Yeah, the word is you were possessed, essentially, making the film.
Had to have been, yeah.
Yeah, to do it. And Huey, you provide the music for the film, but also it was your first acting gig, right? Did that come with the deal, or?
Yeah, well, it was Bob's idea, and
You played a teacher.
let's face it, I nailed it in one take.
Was that typecasting, the nerdy professor?
Bob's idea, we thought it would be kind of a nice inside joke, you know, if we weren't credited and sort of disguised a little bit.
And sort of, yeah. And Mary, you came in on Back to the Future Part 3.
Right.
That's hard at that point. You're joining a well-established cast. Were you nervous about it?
I was more nervous about just the personalities on the set sort of accepting me into the ranks. I felt like a new kid at school, and they couldn't have been sweeter. From day one, it was amazing. I mean, Michael was a great leading man and host, and I had wonderful love scenes with Chris, who was very romantic, and he and I had my very first film. Chris Lloyd was in the first scene I ever did in a movie in Going South, so it was incredible to work with him again.
And this was your first on-camera kiss was with Mary, correct?
The first and last.
Didn't
I
quite
ruined it for all others.
Do you have a favorite moment, Michael, in all these films?
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to separate the film actually from the experience.
Yeah.
But you know, in terms of like parts of the film, I mean, I love the Johnny B. Good scene. I mean, it was just, for me, it was a fantasy.
Well, you played the guitar, yeah.
It was so great. And I mean, otherwise, I just have memories. I just have, you know, like Leah said, you know, you made me smile thinking about Bob. You know, Bob would get a shot, and then he'd say, "Wait," he'd start thinking, and he'd get this look in his eye, and you think, "Oh my God, what is he going to do now?" There would be some ridiculous thing, and he'd just go, "Wow, he should be locked up."